It's not easy to serve the Lord. The few who are fully committed to Him, who love Him with all their hearts, who are continually crying out to Him for Him to reveal Himself in truth, seem so isolated and alone. They faithfully preach His word, but people generally ignore them so that they can chase after teaching that's more exciting to them. Life is often hard for God's most faithful servants. They often wonder where God has gone and what God is doing. But we can be assured that God is sovereignly, patiently, and sometimes pretty quietly working out His plan. He promises that He will deal with those people who think that they can just create Him into a version of a God that's more suitable to their desires. And He promises that ultimately He will bless and reward those whose hearts belong completely to Him, those who serve Him in the midst of all the false religion and chaos that's going on in the world around us. That's what we see in today's reading in Jeremiah. He prays, "Lord, why are things so hard for your people? And why don't you do anything about it?" And the Lord tells Jeremiah that it's the way it is because He is rooting out the wicked and rebellious from among His people. He says, "I'm doing this because false shepherds are ruining my vineyard." He says in chapter 14 that among His people there are many false prophets who He did not send. And we need to hear that. Just because someone says they are a servant of God doesn't mean that they actually are one. In every generation there have been false teachers and false prophets among God's people. And we have many of them today who are misleading people all over the world. The Lord says in Jeremiah that they're not speaking His word. He says they're speaking from false dreams and false visions. He says they're speaking from their own imaginations and from the deception of their own minds. And just like today, people were being deceived by them. They were following them. They were believing everything that they said. And so the Lord says to Jeremiah, He's going to bring judgment. There's going to be difficulty for a time. Because just like us, He created them for His glory. But they weren't listening to Him. Everyone, He says, is walking according to the stubbornness of their own evil hearts. He tells Jeremiah in chapter 15, it's so bad that even if Moses and Samuel came back from the dead and prayed for these people, He said, I wouldn't listen to them. Judgment is coming. People in Judah were living in ease. They were enjoying what they thought made the good life. And they thought it came in response to their religion because of their man-made version of faith that used such religious and spiritual sounding words that somehow they thought God was responding to them in a favorable way. But the truth is they were far from the heart of God. And God assures them, and He assures us and warns us throughout the prophets that the proud and the arrogant shouldn't be deceived. It was true then, and it's true today. Those who think they can make up dreams and visions, those who seek to profit by manipulating God for their own purposes will be dealt with in God's time and in God's way. And those who follow after the false teachers because of their own greed and their desire to use God for their gain will be dealt with as well. He says, I see their ways, and I will repay them double for the way that they've filled my people with their falsehood. And to those who cry out for God's truth to reign, to those who often feel forsaken because they're surrounded by so much deception and distortion of the truth, He says, don't give up. Don't be deceived. Don't be taken up by the popular ideas of those who are misleading so many others. Stand in the truth and know that the Lord is very much at work, and He promises you hope for the future, and He promises you strength for the present. He says they will not prevail over you. I am with you to save you. I will have compassion on my people. I will bring you to myself. I will restore you. I will make myself known, and everybody will see. And when that day comes, He says, everyone will know that I'm the Lord.